Okay, good morning everyone. I have just started recording the meeting. I remembered this time. Um, right, so give me a second. Okay, so yesterday we were discussing ear decompositions, right? We spent pretty much the entire lecture on discussing ear decompositions of two-edge connected graphs, right? In particular, we saw an algorithm, but then towards the end of the lecture, I said that we are going to write down a formal proof for the more difficult direction. So what is the easy direction? If a graph has an ear decomposition, then it is two-edge connected. This we proved, I think, 2 lectures ago. But the more tricky part to prove is that if a graph is two-edge connected, then it admits an ear decomposition. So in other words, if your graph is two-edge connected, you should be able to demonstrate that there exists an ear decomposition for that graph, right? Okay, so we are going to prove this. The proof is going to be it's essentially a proof by contradiction. I will explain where the contradiction starts. And we started writing down the formal proof. I have made some changes since yesterday because I realized that I was rushing a bit. And so I was a little bit vague and unclear at times. So whatever is written in red color here is stuff that I've added this morning. So we are going to prove that the graph has an ear decomposition. And in fact, we are going to prove something slightly stronger. We will also show that any cycle can be chosen as the first cycle in the ear decomposition. So you don't have to start from a specific cycle. You can start from any cycle of the graph, which is also what we did in the algorithm. Okay? Okay. And then I erase some things because I want to make things a little bit more precise. So since the graph is two-edge connected, the graph has a cycle. Okay, I'm going to pick any cycle, say C. C is our cycle. So what can we say about C? C is a two-edge connected subgraph, right? Because it is a cycle, and it admits an ear decomposition. Why does C admit an ear decomposition? Well, the ear decomposition of C is just the cycle C itself, right? So what is an ear decomposition? It is a sequence where you start with a cycle and then you keep adding ears, right? And these ears are cycles or paths. So in this particular case, the cycle itself is the ear decomposition because that is the whole graph or the subgraph we are considering, okay? So the cycle is a two-edge connected subgraph of the given graph that admits an ear decomposition. Now what we are going to do is we are going to take a maximal two-edge connected subgraph of the given graph such that the given cycle is a subgraph of that graph and this graph admits an ear decomposition. So just to give you an example, which I will probably erase in some time. So, right, so if this is your graph, so let's say this is your cycle. So we are going to start with the cycle, but we are now going to take as big a subgraph as possible that admits an ear decomposition, right? So for example, our subgraph in the proof could be like this. So this could be H, C plus this ear Q1. So for example, H could be C plus Q1. Of course, you might say, well, I can also add Q2. Yes, that is because we are looking at a specific graph. The point is, if you can include the whole graph, then you have already found the ear decomposition. So we are trying to prove by contradiction. Let us suppose that H is not equal to G. For some reason, you are getting stuck when you are trying to add ears. Okay? So, okay. Let me change the color of my pen to black. So what is H? H is a maximal two-edge connected subgraph. It contains the cycle C because remember we are trying to prove a stronger statement. We want the cycle to be chosen as the first cycle. In fact, I will write something stronger actually. I want to make one more change. H admits an ER decomposition with C as the starting cycle. Okay. So we discussed what maximal means yesterday, but to make it very clear, I have explained the meaning here. Okay. So if you take any bigger 2H connected subgraph, bigger than H. So what does this mean? This means that the bigger subgraph J contains H. So this notation here means that H is a proper subgraph of J. So proper because I am using this. If I just use this, then it means it is a subgraph and H could be equal to J. But when I use this notation, I mean that H and J are not equal. So proper means that H is not equal to J. So what I'm saying here is, if you take any bigger subgraph J, which contains H, and therefore it also contains the cycle C, because H contains C, then this subgraph J will not admit any ER decomposition with C as the starting cycle. Right? So, okay. So if you take any bigger graph, it will somehow be a problem. It is contradicting what we are looking for. Okay. So this is the meaning of this statement here. And if you are still confused, think about it more, ask me for a meeting, come to office hours, and we can discuss this, right? So you should not think that this is some gibberish that I've written. Okay, if you think that this is some gibberish which doesn't make sense, that's all right. Think about it and discuss with me or with the TAs. Okay. So now we continue the proof. So if H is equal to G, what does this mean? It means that G has an ER decomposition with C as the starting cycle. This is exactly what we want to prove, the theorem statement. So if H is equal to G, then there is nothing to prove. Then there is nothing to prove. Right? So now we are going to assume that H is not equal to G, which basically also means that H is a proper subgraph of G. Okay, so what has happened is we have found some subgraph H, it contains a cycle C, and the big graph is G, and what we are saying is that this is a maximal subgraph which contains the cycle C, and it admits an ER decomposition starting with the cycle C. But for some reason, you are not able to get the whole graph G. Okay, so why are you not able to get the whole graph G? Either some edges are missing, or maybe some vertices are also missing. Okay, so now we have two cases. And now you will see the similarity with the algorithm. So one case is that the vertex set of H is equal to the vertex set of G, which means that there are just some edges which are in G but not in H. So in other words, the G could have some edges like this, which are not in H, but all of the vertices are already covered in H. Okay. So what do we do in this case? Can somebody tell me how do we complete the proof in this case? How do you get a contradiction? I want to get a contradiction. I want to prove that somehow H is not the maximal subgraph. I am able to add some more things to get a contradiction to the maximality of H.
Any edge not in H that you add is ER.
Exactly. Take any edge of the graph G which is not in H and just add it to the ER decomposition you have already found. and that will be a contradiction. Okay, so I want to make this more precise. So H is a maximal two-edge connected subgraph. So let me just put down something that I forgot to write. So H has an ER decomposition starting with cycle C. Okay, what does this ER decomposition look like? So I'm going to use this notation, script D. You start with the cycle C, then you add an ER. So you get graph H1, H2, up to HR. Okay, so this is an ER decomposition of H. Okay, and HR is equal to H. And each HI is obtained from HI minus 1 by adding an ER. Okay, so I know that H has an ER decomposition starting with the cycle C. What we are going to show is that in this case, so let me change the color again. In this particular case, what it means is that the edges of H are a proper subset of the edges of G. So now, let E be any edge of G which is not in H. So E is some edge like this, okay? It is an edge of the graph, but is not in the H. So what I will do is, I will take this ER decomposition and I will put the edge E at the end. Consider D prime. Start with the cycle C, do the same stuff that you did before with the graph H, and finally you add the edge E. D prime is an ER decomposition. Let me remove consider, this will make sense. D prime is an ER decomposition of the graph H plus E. What is the problem here? Can somebody tell me why is this a contradiction? Can someone?
Its maximality is contradicted.
Thank you, Achyut. Thank you. So H plus E is a two-edge connected subgraph because you just added an ER, and it is bigger than H. It contains cycle C and it has an ER decomposition starting with the cycle C. Right? This contradicts the maximality of H. Right? We chose H to be a maximal subgraph which has such an ER decomposition. So you cannot have a bigger subgraph with the same property, right? Okay. So H plus E contradicts the maximality of H. Okay. So this is our case 1. Case 2. Supposing the graph G has some vertices that are not in the graph H. Okay. So let's say V of H is a proper subset of V of G. Okay. So let's change the drawing a little bit. So now we know that this is the vertices of G minus the vertices of H, and this is not empty. This is now the drawing for case 2. Okay. So now what do we do? Can anybody recall the algorithm and tell me what we are going to do?
Since G was connected, there must be an edge out of H that goes to the vertex that's not in H.
Right.
And you can keep following that vertex until you reach back to a point within H, in which case you have an ER.
Exactly. So basically the graph G is connected. So there has to be some edge going from the vertices of H to the vertices of G minus H. Okay, so since G is connected, there exists an edge E equal to UV such that U, so this means such that U is in H and V is in the vertices of G but is not a vertex of H. Right? This is exactly what we did in the algorithm. We found an edge going out. This is the vertex U, this is the vertex V. Now I'm going to do something slightly different to be consistent with the algorithm. We are going to delete the edge E, and the graph is two edge connected, so there has to be a path from V to this part again. Since G is two edge connected, maybe I should be consistent with how I'm writing. Since G is two edge connected, there exists a path P from V to some vertex in the vertices of H in the graph G minus E. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the edge E. Because the graph is two edge connected, I should still be able to go from the vertex V back into the set H, right? This is the vertices of H. So I'm going to find such a path, right? P. And so I think we discussed this yesterday. In general, P could look like this, but I'm going to stop P at the point where it reaches the vertices of H, right? So in the lecture, in the notes, in the type notes, I make it more precise. But I'm just going to write here such that the vertices of P intersect with the vertices of H is exactly 1. So what this means is that the vertex, that P basically ends in H and at the first vertex in H, right? And so now what are we going to do? Anyone? How do we get a contradiction now? Can anybody tell me how do we get a contradiction?
Add that path and it's an ear, so it's no more maximum edge.
So take the, yes, thanks. So take Q to be E plus P, and now take H to be, take H prime to be H plus the ear. So what we are going to do is, we are going to add this ear, E plus the path P to the graph H. This will be a two edge connected graph because we added an ear to a two edge connected graph. And it contains H because we are adding something to H, so which means that it is a super graph of H, and it has an ear decomposition because you take the ear decomposition of H and just add one more ear, Q, and this contradicts the maximality of H. So again, you have a contradiction, right? So now D prime is going to be, start with the cycle C, do the same thing as before, H1, H2, HR until here. Take all of this stuff. And finally, put HR plus Q. And so now you have linear decomposition of the graph H prime that starts with the cycle C. And this is a contradiction because now HR plus Q, which is basically H prime, right? Because H is HR, contradicts the maximality and this completes the proof. In two cases, both cases have been covered. The first case is when the vertices of H is equal to the vertices of G. The second case is when the vertices of H is a proper subset of the vertex set of G. Right? In both cases, we were able to find a bigger graph which also has an ER decomposition starting with the cycle C. And this contradicts the maximality of H. So basically the contradiction is, we assumed H is equal to, we assume that H is not equal to G, and this has been contradicted, right? So if you want to make it even more complete, I mean, in some sense we are done, but if you want to add one more sentence, thus H is equal to G, because we've been getting to a contradiction in each case to this assumption, right? And if H is equal to G, then basically we have proved the statement we wanted to prove, that G admits a ER decomposition starting with the cycle C. Okay, let's take a 1 or 2 minute break and see if everybody understands this proof. And if there is anything that you don't follow, just ask and we can go over it again. Is there anything that requires more clarification?
It's clear, sir.
Clear? Yes.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
So here we have considered this H is itself the cycle C. Is it
Right.
so, or I'm thinking like that?
Right. So is H equal to the cycle C? Is that your question?
Yeah, yeah.
No. So that's not what we're assuming, right? So we
A subset or equal to, I think,
right. So H is in general. So in general, C is a subgraph of H. And another way to write that is C is a subgraph of H. So there is some operation overloading going here, right? So generally, when you use this notation, you mean some set is a subset of another set. In graph theory, we also use the same notation for subgraph, right? So it can be a little confusing, but if you just pay attention to the context, then the meaning is clear. So yes, C is a subgraph of H. That is correct.
Another thing is that the
Yes.
meaning part you have written, I'm not getting it. So can you please clarify that?
Okay. So let's not read the meaning part. Okay, let's not read it. Let's just try to go back to this drawing. Let's go to the drawing. Okay. So in this drawing, what we are assuming is that H is a 2H connected subgraph which contains a cycle C, and it admits an ER decomposition starting with the cycle C. Remember, what we want to prove is that G has an ER decomposition starting with the cycle C, right? But we can't just jump to that conclusion. So what we are going to do is, we are going to take as big a subgraph as possible, which satisfies the conclusion we are trying to prove. Okay? If this subgraph H is equal to G, then we are done. Then there is nothing to prove, right? So let us suppose that H is not equal to G. So it is the biggest subgraph of G that satisfies the conclusion we are trying to prove. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So here we are considering that H is maximal, and
Right.
then we are trying to prove by contradiction that if we add the ER decomposition, then it will contradict the property of maximality for H, and from that we are concluding the final result.
That's exactly right. Yes, we are assuming that H is a maximal subgraph which satisfies the conclusion of the theorem, right? And then we are trying to contradict the maximality of H by adding one more ER. And if you see the argument of adding an ER, it is basically exactly what we did in the algorithm, right?
Right.
So you can think about the meaning part that I have written later, but it seems to me that you have already understood the meaning. So you can think more about what I have written here, And if it confuses you more, then maybe you can just come to office hours and we can discuss over this part.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
But I think that you've already gotten the
Yeah,
gist of it.
yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, Safali.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Okay. Also, if there is a lot of construction noise, let me know. I can close the windows. I forgot to close them. So in case there is a lot of disturbance, just interrupt me and let me know. Okay. So, okay, so this completes the proof. So one thing I forgot to mention yesterday is the analysis of the algorithm. So we discussed an n to the power 4 algorithm, and I had promised you that we will come up with an n to the power 3 algorithm, n cube. So let's just go through this algorithm quickly and see why it is n cube. Okay, what is the step 1? Find a cycle. How long does it take to find a cycle? Anyone? Can anyone tell me how long it takes to find a cycle?
That would be order m plus n, which is order n square.
Right. In order n square, you can find a cycle because you just do a BFS, you find a spanning tree, and you add one edge and you find a cycle. Okay. So that can be done in order n. So that's order n square. So maybe I'll change the color. So this step 1 here is order n square. In step 2, we are running a loop, right? How many times can this loop run? In each step of the loop, we are going to add at least one edge. Do you all agree? In every step of the loop, we are always going to add at least one edge. Right? In fact, we are going to add at least one vertex, if I'm not mistaken. Right, we are going to add at least one vertex. So the loop runs n times. This loop will run n times at most. Right? And how long does it take? What is the step? 2.1 is easy. You just find one edge going from H to G. That should be easy. You can do it in linear time. And then you want to find a path. You want to find a path from V to H. How long does this take? Anyone? In the worst case, how long can it take to find a path from one vertex to another vertex?
Again, order n square.
Order n square. Okay, so you're running the loop n times at most, and the time taken by the loop is n square, and so this is n cube, right? And in the end, this is just easy stuff. You add the remaining edges in any order, so this is all linear time, right? So the total time complexity is order n cube. Yeah, is everybody convinced? I've written it more formally in the type notes, which I will circulate by the end of this week. Okay. Okay, so what we have done so far is we have discussed the decision problem 2-edge connectivity. And we have discussed why the problem is in NP, co-NP, right? So NP, the one is ear decomposition. This is one of the most succinct ways of proving that a given graph is 2-edge connected, right? And co-NP is very clear. You just find a cut edge, right? And we have proved that an ear decomposition always exists for every 2-edge connected graph, right? So we proved the theorem that for a 2-edge connected graph, an ear decomposition always exists. Right? And our algorithm will also find the ear decomposition in order n cube time. You can find it in order n cube time. time complexity. Okay? Good. So this is basically the end of 2H connectivity, and you will be using ER decompositions a lot on your first assignment. Okay? Good. Now I want to talk about K-edge connectivity. So we are still talking about edge connectivity, and perhaps tomorrow we will start with only with vertex connectivity. So let's just recall the definition. A connected graph is G is 2-edge connected if G minus E is connected for each edge of the graph. So what does 2-edge connectivity mean? It means that you have to delete at least 2 edges in order to disconnect the graph. Okay? So can anybody tell me now, what does K-edge connected mean? Can anyone now tell me what does it mean for a graph to be K-edge connected? It is a generalization of 2-edge connected.
The connected graph can be a K-edge connected if we can means instead of 2 we
Yes.
will consider any number of keys. So
Right.
yeah,
Right. So I'll tell you again for 2-edge connected. A
yeah.
connected graph is 2-edge connected if
Yeah.
you need to remove at least 2 edges to disconnect the graph.
Yeah, for
So
this
now can you
it
tell?
will require K just to disconnect the graph.
Right.
Yeah, that I was.
So yes, if one must delete at least K edges to obtain a disconnected graph, right? Now, can anyone translate it to this language? Can someone translate it to the other language?
If you remove any k minus 1 size subset of edges from G, then G minus that subset is still
Right,
connected.
exactly. So if G minus F is connected for each, maybe I'll just write down, for each subset F of the edge set such that the cardinality of F is less than equal to K minus 1. Okay, so these are two equivalent definitions. Okay, right? Is everybody convinced that these are equivalent? If you remove at most K minus 1 edges, then the graph will remain connected. This is the same as saying that you need to remove at least K edges in order to disconnect the graph, right? Okay, good. So we are not going to discuss in this module for K greater than equal to 3. Okay, so you can also pose the decision problem. What about 3-edge connected? Let's just take a few seconds to discuss this. What about the decision problem for 3-edge connectivity? So you have a connected graph. So given a connected graph, G, decide whether G is 3-edge connected. So can anybody tell me whether this is in co-NP or in NP or in P?
It's in co-NP, so if you have a 1 or 2 sized edge cut, then you can show
Right.
that it's not
Right, so
3
it is clearly in co-NP because you just need to show me a set like this. You just show me a set like this, right? So it is in co-NP. Is it in P? Is it in P? I'm going to call out someone. Manognia, is it in P? Is this problem in P? Manognia, are you there? Anand George, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Hi. Is this problem in P?
Yes, sir.
Why?
We can try removing any combination of three edges and see whether the remaining graph is disconnected.
Exactly. So what you would do is you would take all possible subsets, because this is 3, right? So you would take all possible subsets of 2 edges, or at most 2 edges, right? I mean, you can actually stick to 2 edges, because if you can disconnect the graph by removing one edge, then you can also disconnect the graph by removing 2 edges, right? So you can just check for all subsets of edges of 2 edges of size 2. So take any subset of size 2, let's say f, look at the graph G minus f and check if G minus f is connected. Check if the graph is connected. If the graph is disconnected, then you are done. The graph is not 2 edge connected, 3 edge connected. Otherwise, the graph is 3 edge connected, right? So you are checking for all subsets of size 2. So this is polynomially many of them. And then checking connectivity is order n square, right? And this means that actually you can replace 3 by k. For any constant k, the problem is polynomial time solvable, right? Because how many subsets of size k do you have? N choose k. And n choose k is a polynomial in n because k is a constant, right? So for any constant k, checking k edge connectivity is polytime solvable. So the problem is in, so the k edge connectivity problem is in NP, it is in CoNP. K edge connectivity is in CoNP. It is also in P, and therefore it is also in NP. But what is an NP certificate? I will let you think about that. Okay. So you should think of NP certificate. Okay. Are there any questions about KH connectivity? We are not going to go into KH connectivity any further. We are just going to focus on 2H connectivity, which we have already done. Right? Why? Because 2H connectivity turns out to be very important, both in applications and also in general in graph theory. Okay? So now I want to switch to vertex connectivity. Are there any questions on edge connectivity?
Yeah, how it is polynomial time solvable, that part actually.
Okay, right. So let's just think about 3, right? What about 3-edge connectivity? For 3-edge connectivity, you would check for all subsets of size 2. You would take all subsets of size 2 of the edge set and you will remove them and you will check whether the remaining graph is connected. Right? How many subsets of size 2 are there? Supposing you have, oh, I made a mistake here. I should have put m choose k because m is the number of edges. So how many subsets of size k are there, Sifali? If I have m edges, then how many subsets of size k?
There could be m into m minus 1. Maybe I'm saying wrong.
Well, there is a, you can just say the notation, right? It is m choose k, often written as mck.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is actually polynomial in n. You can think about it. Why is this polynomial in m? Remember that k is a constant. Remember that k is a constant. Okay. So I would like you to think about, for anyone who is confused about this part, I want you to think about this part. Okay.
Okay.
And so you can choose all subsets. This is going to be a polynomial in M. And for each subset, you delete it and you check whether the remaining graph is connected, right? So if F is some subset of the edge set and the cardinality of F is equal to K, it is a subset of size K, then what you do is you delete the set and you check whether this graph is connected, right? But checking whether a graph is connected is doable in order m time.
Okay.
Okay, so you have order m times a polynomial in n, and remember that m is basically n square, right? It's roughly n square, right? So if it is a polynomial in m, it is also a polynomial in n,
Okay.
right? So you can check in polynomial time that the graph is kh connected. Does that answer your question?
Yes, yes. Yes.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. Okay. So think about this one offline. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Good. Any other questions? Okay. If not, then I want to switch to, actually it's not a new section, it's in connectivity. I want to switch to vertex connectivity. So now we are on the same date and we are switching to vertex connectivity. Okay, good. So let us write down the definition straight away. A connected graph G is K vertex connected in the literature, and I will also do this, or simply K connected. For some reason, when people say K connected, they mean K vertex connected. I personally think edge connectivity is easier to think about, but that's not the point. Okay, so in the literature, K connected means K vertex connected. Can anyone tell me what the definition is?
You would require at least k vertices to be removed to disconnect the graph.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to translate it to the other way of writing it. If for each S subset of the vertex set G such that cardinality of S is less than or equal to K minus 1, the graph G minus S is connected. So now what are we doing? The main difference is, rather than deleting the edges, we are deleting vertices from the graph now. Okay? We are going to take a subset of the vertices of size at most K minus 1, and we are going to insist that the graph be connected after removing this vertex set. In other words, you should remove at least K vertices to disconnect the graph. Turns out there is one more technical condition for vertex connectivity. Why? We will discuss that in module 3. One more technical condition is that the number of vertices in the graph is at least K plus 1. Okay, and why, I won't tell you right now, but we will come to that later. We will discuss why in module 3. For those who have taken a course in graph theory, think about Menger's theorem. So if you have taken a course in graph theory and if you know what Menger's theorem is, then think about Menger's theorem and you will see why this condition is necessary. Okay. So this is a technical condition. The more important condition is this. This is the more important condition. Okay. Good. I want to end today's lecture on a very important fact, which we will prove. Supposing a graph is not K3 edge connected. So suppose that G is a connected graph. That is not, let me instead of 3 put 5. That is not 5 edge connected. What does this mean? This means that I can remove 4 edges. This is a misleading drawing, but I am deliberately drawing a misleading drawing here. This drawing is deliberately misleading. Okay, so the graph is connected, but it is not 5 edge connected, which means I can remove 4 edges and disconnect the graph. Then, is the graph 5 vertex connected? Or more importantly, can the graph be 5 vertex connected? Can anybody look at this drawing, which is deliberately misleading, and tell me what is the problem? Is this graph 5 vertex connected? Supposing there are more vertices here.
If we choose the vertices corresponding to the edges that we're removing, then we can disconnect it by choosing like 5 vertices. So it cannot be 5 vertex connected if it's not 5 edge connected.
Right. You mean deleting 4 vertices, right? Not 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the point is, in this drawing, G minus V1, V2, V3, V4 is disconnected, because I am assuming that there are more vertices here. So if I remove V1, V2, V3, V4, then these 3 vertices, for example, they will not be able to reach the other side. Right? So it turns out that every K vertex connected graph is also K edge connected. But this here is not a proof. This is not a proof because this drawing, as I said multiple times, is deliberately misleading. I want you all to think about a proof. And perhaps we will prove it on Friday, or I will just put it in the type notes and you can read it. Okay, but I want you all to think about a proof and we will resume on Friday. If there are any questions, please stay back and I will be here for another 10 minutes.
Not to go too far ahead, are we talking about a complete graph in some sense, K complete or something? Because
you mean, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, if we take a K plus 1 vertices graph,
yeah,
and then consider vertex 1,
okay,
and if you were to remove K minus 1 vertices, it can be anything from 2 to K plus 1, right? So
yeah,
means that there should be an edge from 1 to vertex 2, 1 to vertex 3, 1 to vertex 4.
Oh, are you by any chance thinking about Menger's theorem?
I don't know what Menger's theorem is. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. So I'm not able to understand your question. Can you go over it again?
Consider like if we were to
Okay.
prove some graph as k or k vertex connected graph.
Okay.
So
Okay.
let's take an example of a graph with k plus 1 vertices.
Okay. So let's say k equal to 3, and let me take k plus 1. Well, it's 4. So you want to take a complete graph?
No, will it is there some relation, or is it the case that k connected or k vertex connected might imply or might take us to a complete k complete graph or in some
Hmm.
I'm just trying to provide the intuition
Yeah.
why I'm coming at this kind of completeness or complete
Okay.
graph.
I see. So I'm still wondering what exactly you are getting at. Are you by any chance thinking about this condition?
No, not at all.
No. Okay. So a complete graph is very well connected, right? So in some sense, complete graphs are the most connected graphs in some sense, are very well connected. Right? But for example, a three connected graph, so for example, this graph here is three connected, but it is not a complete graph.
Yes, or
Okay.
to put in other words, does it guarantee that a k connected graph might implies the existence of a k complete subgraph in it, or
That's not true actually. No. So it's a good point. That's not true. You could have a highly connected graph which does not have any large complete graph inside it.
okay?
Yeah. But that is so I think what you're saying is it possible that if I assume that a graph is very highly connected, then does it necessarily mean that it must contain a big complete subgraph?
Yeah, I'm thinking that if we were to take some k plus 1 vertex k connected graph, then it somehow implies that the existence of a k complete subgraph in it, or
No,
if
so
not
that is
complete, then
actually,
highly
yeah, so that seems like intuitively it could be true, but actually it's not. You could have very highly connected graphs with not not big enough complete subgraphs. For example, you could have a three connected graph. I mean, three connected is maybe too small. Um, um, for example, you could have a five connected graph which has no triangles. And what is a triangle? Triangle is K3, right?
Yeah.
So there exist five connected graphs. I am pretty sure there also exist 100 connected graphs which have no triangle.
Okay. Yeah, that
Yeah.
answers. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, I can tell you how to make one, but you can think about it. Try to construct, so maybe as an exercise, try to construct a 100 connected graph. Well, you don't have to worry about 100, which does not have a K3. Okay?
Yeah.
Thanks. Any other questions?
So the condition for vertex connectivity
Yeah.
is it just an if condition or is it an if and only if condition?
Oh, you mean the definition?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, so whenever you write a definition, well, mathematicians, as precise they try to be, they are also human beings. So they are very sloppy. When you see if in a definition, it means if and only if.
Okay.
Okay. So this is something that is worth for everyone. In any definition in mathematics, if means if and only if. Okay, so this is just a convention. But when you write a theorem statement, this is not true. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, thanks.
Sir, you were telling that the graph you drawed for to explain us the concept of vertex connectivity is deliberately misleading. But
Right.
why?
Oh, I see. Do you want to tell me why? So what am I assuming? My graph is not 5 edge connected. So I assume that there are 4 edges whose removal disconnects the graph, right? But does the drawing have to look like this?
No.
Does the drawing have to look like this? No, right?
Yes.
Do you see?
Yes, sir.
Right. That is why I say that this drawing is deliberately misleading. So you should not come up with a proof directly from this drawing. Your proof is likely to be incorrect.
Understood, sir.
Okay. Thanks, Sandeep. Any other questions?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. You're welcome. Okay. So I'll stop the recording.